Hi there. My name is Karen Fabian, and I'm the founder of Bare Bones Yoga. And thank you so much for taking a moment to click this link and watch this recording. I am super excited to share this with you. This is a brand new presentation that I am doing, and I want you to think of it a little bit more like a conversation. Even though we are not going to be able to go back and forth, I'm really creating it as if we were sitting in the same space or on a live Zoom call where we were just having a conversation about what is possible when you transform your teaching. And so what I'm going to share with you today is a path. And over the next 20 minutes or so, I'll share with you all the steps in that path. And then I'll present you with a choice, and you can choose to stay on that path or not. And I'm going to be totally transparent with you. To stay on this path is going to ask for a little bit of money and a little bit of time. And if you know right out of the gate that you don't have money or time to invest in your path as a yoga teacher, then don't watch this video. However, I think that it's probably at least worth just taking a look at, and then you can decide with the options in front of you. Because let's face it, you wouldn't have clicked the link if you weren't interested on some level. So you probably owe it to yourself to at least investigate it and see what's involved. So with that in mind, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go to the presentation itself, and we will begin. So let me also make this bigger so that it's really easy for you to see. So welcome to How to Transform Your Teaching, a conversation for yoga teachers who want to increase their confidence, skill, and impact. So let me ask you a few questions to see if you're in the right place. You graduated from a 200-hour teacher training program. You're teaching now or want to teach. You're a new teacher or one with experience who's open to developing further. You want to feel confident and knowledgeable about what you offer your students in terms of the cues and the sequences and those conversations you have with them. You want to help more people by sharing yoga, and you want to grow your income and your impact. So if you said yes to even a few of these, you are in the right place. If I can have your focus for the next few minutes, I promise by the time we're through, you'll have a clear path that you can choose to follow to transform your teaching. This will help you shift away from the challenges that hit home for you from that first slide we just went over to becoming a more powerful, confident teacher, making a bigger impact and earning good money for it. Are you ready? Let's go. You are going to discover how to shift as a teacher, both in knowledge and skill, as well as how you feel, so that your confidence grows, your impact grows, your earning potential grows, and you reach more people with your teaching. The story I'll share in the next few minutes and the offer I'll share with you at the end of this conversation will give you the path to making this positive shift. Now, you might wonder why I'm sharing this. Well, over the years as a teacher, I bet I felt a lot of what you may be feeling today. I felt unsure of myself, I lacked confidence, and I was looking for a way to share from what I know rather than just repeating what I was told to say and trained to say. Now, please don't feel like you're the only one feeling this way if any of these things resonated with you. I am so glad that you are here, and now you can take steps to make those positive changes that can transform your teaching. My passion is helping yoga teachers confidently share what they know in an authentic way as only they can, so they love when they teach, can grow their impact, and earn good money for it. That's the main reason I'm sharing this with you today. So I want to tell you a little bit about my origin story, because I think that'll be a good basis for what we're going to go into. When I started teaching back in 2003, I used to sit in my car outside the Baptiste studio in Boston and will myself to get the nerve to go in. Armed only with what I was trained to say, I felt ill-prepared and inauthentic. I wanted things to spontaneously flow from me, but all I had was the ability to mimic what my teacher had told me to say. Fast forward to now, and granted, I've had many years of experience, but what made the biggest difference was mastering the essential components of anatomy for yoga. Mastering just the key aspects of anatomy for teaching allowed me to create my own cues using words that are authentic to me, answer student questions confidently, and cut back on time preparing for class because I could just show up and teach without having to spend hours writing out a sequence. As I moved forward, Doing these things, my confidence grew, as did opportunities to teach and my earnings. I had the confidence to pursue teaching opportunities outside of just studio teaching where I could create the rate and be paid my worth. I refined how I wanted to teach and identified a style that resonated with me. So when I taught, I was able to use my own words and feel confident. Because I had identified my niche, I was sought out by students who liked my teaching style. I was unaffected by what was popular, and I confidently taught in my own style, and my classes grew because I connected with students who liked my approach. My focus on functional movement, grounded in understanding anatomy, made me sought out by studios to teach anatomy-based classes and workshops. This expertise grew, and I started sharing it more by writing books, creating training programs for teachers, starting my own podcast, a TV show on health and wellness, and a YouTube channel. As all these opportunities fell into place, my earnings grew. I was able to build my own business and work for myself, which I still do to this day. After many years, this continues to be how I support myself, doing what I love and teaching confidently across my programs, social media channels, private classes, studio classes, and more. Looking back, it all ties into building my understanding of the key aspects of anatomy and the skills that come from that. This is what I want for you, to build that foundation of knowledge so you can carve your own path to success. So let me ask you, are you interested in any of these things? To teach with confidence, to earn good money for your classes, privates, and workshops, to be able to teach in your own words rather than just repeating cues you were trained to say, to have mid-sized to full classes, to have a good understanding of anatomy so you can create cues that help your students. Can you relate to any of these things? I can't find the right words to use when I teach. I feel overwhelmed when I have to create a sequence. I'm afraid my students will get hurt. I'm worried when someone asks me a question because I might not know the answer. I can't identify the niche that feels right for me, so I feel like I'm teaching like everybody else. I feel like an imposter, like I'm not expert enough. I'm not making decent money teaching. I don't feel ready to get started. I keep enrolling in training programs because I don't feel like I know enough. Now, have you ever thought of these things? I get really nervous when I teach. I worry people are going to get injured in my classes. I worry that no one will show up to my classes. I worry that people are bored. I feel like I'm not popular enough. I wonder if it's even worth it to pursue teaching. There are already so many teachers that know more than me. I'm just using words I was told to say in training. It doesn't even sound like me. Well, if after acknowledging you felt those things, if I told you the key to moving past all of that was learning anatomy, would you believe that to be true? The missing piece for so many teachers is this. To teach yoga, you've got to understand movement. To understand movement, you've got to understand anatomy. So therefore, to be an effective teacher, you'd surely want to understand anatomy, right? But what if you've tried and it's been hard to learn? Then what? Is it you? Do you need to be good at science or have a medical background in order to learn anatomy? The best and easiest and most stress-free way to learn anatomy is in a step-by-step way, focusing on just the essentials. This is the doorway to more confidence, allowing you to share cues, easily build sequences, and enthusiastically answer student questions, all while creating teaching gigs that you love, increasing your earnings and your impact. Okay, you might be saying, but you're thinking a higher priority for you might be to write out sequences, to get better at cueing, to practice on the mat, to research how you're going to answer questions from students. The bottom line is you might agree, but you might think that learning anatomy is just not a priority for you right now. Well, let me share with you some examples that shows the difference between a teacher who understands anatomy and a teacher who does not. We're going to take a look at some examples of how a lack of understanding of anatomy plays out in real life and can whittle away at your confidence, skill, and impact. So here's the first example. The teacher who doesn't understand anatomy. Roll the inner eyes of the elbows forward in downward dog. Student asks at the end of class, why did you ask us to do that? The teacher says, that's what I was trained to say. Student, in scenario 2, why did you ask us to do that? Now we have a teacher who's mastered anatomy. I'm so glad you asked. The external rotation at the shoulder is part of downward facing dog. To activate the teres minor and infraspinatus, which do this movement, we need to roll the inner eyes of the elbows forward because these muscles connect your scapula to the humerus, which is the upper arm bone. See the difference there? Here's another example. The teacher who doesn't understand anatomy. Oh God, it's time to create a sequence. 2 hours later. Why is this so hard? Scenario 2, a teacher who's mastered anatomy. Let me think of a theme. Okay, external rotation of the shoulders and hips. Let me just jot down a few poses that have these actions. I'll wrap a few sun salutations around the sequence on the front end. A triangle series I'll add a little bit of core, and then I'll finish with some restorative poses. Wow, that was so easy. Here's one more example. From the teacher who doesn't understand anatomy, the student says, I think I might have really tight hips and my glutes are weak. What do you think I can do for that? And the teacher says, I don't know, let me research it and get back to you. The teacher who understands anatomy says, so let's look at some poses that lengthen the hamstrings, but we also want to strengthen them to see if that helps what you're feeling. Sometimes a tight muscle can also be weak. For your gluteus maximus, let me suggest some poses that both strengthen it and lengthen it, as the glute max works differently than the other part of the glutes, the medius or the minimus. So what happened in those examples? In every scenario, the lack of understanding of even the basic fundamentals of anatomy was the barrier to building sequences with ease, sharing cues confidently, and knowing how to answer student questions. Well, at this point, maybe you're thinking, well, anatomy is just so hard to learn. Well, when you try to learn it on your own, it sure is. However, if you have a step-by-step blueprint to follow, it's so much easier. Think of recipes you've used to help you learn to cook, or when you use MapQuest to go on a trip. It's the same thing. Having a blueprint guiding you makes it so much easier. What if you're thinking, does it even matter if I learn it? Well, when you skip the step of mastering the subject of anatomy, all you're left with is repeating cues you were told to say. Learning the why behind the cue is how you grow your confidence, your skill as a teacher, grow your impact, and your earning potential. What if you're thinking, I can just learn it on my own? Well, this is actually what many teachers do. They use social media, YouTube, and Google as their anatomy teachers. But if that was all it took to learn anatomy for teaching yoga, everyone would know it. But the reality is, teachers need more than self-study to master anatomy and more than a choose your own adventure approach. Maybe you've tried one of the things here. You've been buying books, watching YouTube videos, scrolling through social media, buying courses that you actually never complete, attending workshops, and signing up for general hours-based training. What are the costs or the drawbacks common with these approaches? Well, watching videos is not specific enough to meet your needs and teach you what you need to know. Scrolling through social media is a disorganized approach to learning and exposes you to more than you need to know. All of it takes so much time. It's easy to get overwhelmed because no one is guiding your learning. Wasting money buying books and courses that don't have an interactive component to help you learn what's in them. Following an hours-based approach doesn't answer your specific questions about anatomy, nor does it teach you anatomy in a step-by-step way. Well, what happens, let's just address this. What happens if you just forget about it? Well, if you forget about it, you may limit your earning potential because you'll lack the skill and confidence to go after those quality opportunities. You might shy away from teaching. You might not pursue opportunities in places that are highly desirable to you. You might start to dread teaching or avoid it. And you might stop teaching altogether out of frustration. So now what? Now that you're better able to make the connection between growing into a more confident teacher and mastering the fundamentals of anatomy, what can you do? Well, that is where I can help. Presenting to you the Bare Bones Yoga Blueprint Learning Program, a step-by-step program designed to teach you anatomy and how to cue, build sequences, and answer student questions, all with confidence. Let me tell you what it contains. An online course to help guide you through learning the essential things that you need to know, presented in an easy step-by-step fashion. An anatomy manual to give you a written guide, live one-on-one coaching calls with me, no one else, not any assistant or anything, with me to help you pull it all together, and access to my practice portal so you can see and experience how anatomy knowledge is shared via the cues and sequences, as well as a whole host of other benefits like learning through research, guided meditation, and journal exercises. What makes this program different? Number one, it's step-by-step. It's very rare that anatomy programs are taught in a step-by-step fashion from A to Z. It focuses on the key aspects of anatomy, not every little thing. It's fully structured, including live support from me. And I also added on a learning rewards program to ensure that if you want, you can graduate within 3 months or less and earn back $100 of your investment. Ongoing ad hoc support as you need it, provided by me. Lifetime access to the entire program, so it's always a resource for your ongoing learning. And an opportunity to be part of a community of like-minded teachers and participate in quarterly virtual teacher meetup events that I hold once a quarter. You might be asking why I offer this program. I offer it because I want to help teachers be their best and feel their best when they teach. I want them to be able to authentically share from what they know rather than what they were trained to say. I want to give teachers a specialty program that gives them exactly what they need rather than a whole bunch of other topics that are extra but not related. And that's what tends to happen in these hours-based programs. To help teachers tap into their earning potential so they can start pursuing the opportunities that will bring them a return on their investment. So at this point, you might be wondering what the program costs. Well, the cost of the program covers the following components. The course itself, which is a multi-module course with video, text, and images, which is updated regularly and to which you have lifetime access. You pay nothing extra even when it's upgraded. 200-page fully updated and color anatomy manual, 3 one-on-one coaching calls with me, access to the practice portal that has dozens of recorded sequences. So all of that together is worth $3,217. However, you only pay for the course. That is how I structure it. You can choose from a variety of investment plans. You can get full access to everything for $83.25 and then 11 monthly payments of same. Or you can get full access to everything for $143 and then 6 monthly payments of same. Or you can get full access to everything with one payment of $9.99. If you choose any of the payment plans, there is no interest charge added. The coaching calls are a free bonus. The anatomy manual is a free bonus. The practice portal membership is a free bonus, even though I sell each one of these things separately for over hundreds of dollars. Plus, don't forget, if you want to graduate in 3 months or less, you can be part of the Learning Rewards track and earn back $100 of your investment. So overall, you'd only be spending $899. So what if you're interested, but you're thinking, I don't have the time to complete a program. I can't afford it. I prefer in-person learning. I've tried to learn anatomy before and it didn't stick. Now is not the right time for me. Well, let me address each one of those individually. Don't have the time. Well, guess what? Not a problem. You can take as much time as you want. If it takes you a year, you can do it over a year. So that's not an issue. Can't afford it. I want you to keep in mind, there's a cost to doing nothing. What is that costing you in all this time you're spending researching things and lost revenue because you're not going after those teaching gigs that you really want, but you don't feel ready or qualified to teach? You prefer in-person learning. Well, what's missing from virtual learning that's critical to your growth as a teacher? Do you need to be in the same room with someone? I can tell you there have been dozens of teachers that have graduated from my program and no one has ever said, gee, I'm learning a bit, but I only can really learn if we're in the same room together. Like it just doesn't happen. Virtual learning is here to stay, and it's just as effective in the context of learning anatomy. What if you say, I tried to learn anatomy before, but it didn't stick? Well, did you use a blueprint that only presented the key topics you need to know? I bet that's not what you did. I bet you were in a teacher training where maybe it wasn't presented well, or maybe you're out there on your own trying to choose your own adventure. That definitely doesn't work. Now is not the right time. Well, you can invest and start it when you have time. But think about all the time you're spending on those other things like researching answers to your anatomy questions. All that goes away. I want to share with you some of the feedback from other teachers who have completed the Blueprint Learning Program. This program helps solidify the knowledge I already had, as well as deepen my anatomy base for yoga. I would recommend this course for both the seasoned practitioner and a beginning yoga instructor. Not only is Karen incredibly knowledgeable about anatomy, but her commitment to you as a student is something I honestly haven't found anywhere else in all the courses I've taken online. She is there for you 100% to answer any questions clearly and thoughtfully until you feel comfortable with the information. The BLP taught me so much, including the mechanics of healthy movement and how to apply this to my teaching. Karen invests a huge amount of time and effort in her students and provides many valuable resources to support you throughout the program. She is enthusiastic, passionate, and supportive. I highly recommend this course to anyone who's interested in developing their yoga anatomy knowledge. Now, at this point, I want to take away any last bit of risk. So I'm going to include my 30-day money-back guarantee, and I'll refund your money within 30 days of purchase, as long as you've completed at least 5 of the modules and attended at least 1 coaching session. Because if you don't at least try it, how will you know if it won't work for you? And additionally, if you invest today, I am going to add in 2 more coaching sessions, increasing the value of the package by another $500 to make it worth almost $4,000. So to recap, invest today in the Yoga Anatomy Blueprint Learning Program and begin your transformation into a confident, skilled teacher who is able to earn their worth, create the opportunities they want, and increase their impact. Your investment of just $83.25 today, or just $143, will give you access to the entire program, or you can choose to pay it in full at $9.99. You'll have the opportunity to earn back $100 of your investment should you decide to do the Learning Rewards program, and you'll have the comfort of a 100% 30-day money-back guarantee. Your transformation can start now. What are you waiting for? When you graduate, what is possible for you? Well, more confidence when you teach, no more wondering what cues to use, a greater ability to answer student questions and help them out, more skill in building sequences you want to share, less time studying before class and preparing notes and lesson plans, more teaching opportunities, greater earning potential, and more impact. So let me tell you how you enroll. Enrollment is open for the next 72 hours from you watching this. And in order to do it, you're going to use the link that's there. Now, this link is not clickable because it's embedded in this presentation on Zoom. So you'll want to write this down, tinyurl.com/BLP-unlock. Now, also, when you registered to watch this, I sent you an email with an attached PDF. That's a resource guide for teachers on learning anatomy. In that email is the live link. So if you don't want to write this down, you can just go to that email and the link is right there. If you have any trouble finding the link, just send me an email. My email is really easy to remember, Karen@barebonesyoga.com. I cannot wait to work with you. Let's do this. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that I can just make one more connection with you to just encourage you to enroll in this program, begin your transformation as a teacher today. Don't wait any longer. The transformation is there for you to take, and I know you can do it, and I can't wait to start working with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see your enrollment come through. Namaste.